They didn't just lose, they were annihilated. Peter Wright and Gary Anderson, two of Scotland's most decorated darts legends, walked into the 2025 World Cup of Darts as returning heroes, veterans, champions, icons of the sport. But within minutes of stepping onto the stage against the Netherlands, it all fell apart. What followed wasn't just a defeat, it was one of the most humiliating whitewashes in PDC World Cup history. A brutal 8-0 demolition that left fans stunned, critics fuming, and Scotland's proud darts legacy in shambles. And people can't stop talking about it. This is the story of how two giants were crushed under the spotlight, and why this may be the last time we ever see Wright and Anderson on a World Cup stage together. When the draw placed Scotland against the Netherlands in the round of 16, fans braced for fireworks. Michael van Gerwen and Danny Noppert were in red-hot form, but Wright and Anderson, they'd been here before. They knew how to win under pressure. This was supposed to be a classic. It turned into a massacre. From the very first throw, something looked off. Wright, usually flamboyant, focused and fierce, was subdued. Anderson, known for his deadly scoring and calm nerves, couldn't find his rhythm. The Dutch pair took control instantly, hitting ton-plus averages with ease. Scotland couldn't land a punch. Literally, leg after leg, they missed. Doubles weren't even close. Scoring was sluggish. The chemistry, non-existent. There was no fire, no belief, no fight. And the crowd could feel it. By the fourth leg, the atmosphere had turned awkward, but fans stopped cheering. Commentators sounded stunned. This wasn't just a bad match, it was an implosion, the kind of defeat that makes headlines. And as the score ticked 6-0, then 7-0, a sense of disbelief swept through the arena. They were about to be whitewashed on live TV in front of the world. And then came the final leg, and the most brutal stat of all. Wright and Anderson averaged just 79.37 as a team, one of the lowest performances by any top-seeded nation in modern World Cup history. The match ended in just over 13 minutes. Peter Wright didn't speak to media afterward. Gary Anderson offered only a brief comment. "We weren't good enough. Simple as that." But the fallout, that was just beginning. Social media erupted. Fans posted memes of Wright and Anderson standing motionless while the Dutch pair celebrated. Darts Twitter went nuclear, with some calling for the Scottish duo to step aside and let the younger generation take over. One brutal tweet read, "Legends or liabilities?" That was embarrassing. Another fan posted side-by-side images of Wright winning the World Championship and Wright missing double 20 by a full inch in the Netherlands match. Even pundits weren't holding back. Colin Lloyd, a former pro, said bluntly, "That performance was uncharacteristically poor. One of them needs to give way to someone hungrier." And that's when the real speculation began. Is this the end of the road for Wright and Anderson as Scotland's golden pair? It's no secret their chemistry has been fading. For years, they've clashed behind the scenes, clashing over practice, preparation, even walk-on music. Anderson is laid back, almost too casual. Wright is high energy and technical. Their dynamic worked when they were at their peak. Now it looks broken. And fans aren't the only ones noticing. Sources inside the Scottish darts scene have whispered for months that the two barely speak outside of tournaments, that their partnership is a formality, not a friendship. One insider said they used to be mates, now they're just names on a sheet. And it shows. In the Netherlands match, there were no fist bumps, no encouragement, just two legends going through the motions. Even the broadcast caught a moment between legs where Wright rolled his eyes after an Anderson misfire. Body language doesn't lie, but here's where it gets even more shocking. Rumours are now swirling that the PDC is quietly considering a new rule that would encourage national teams to rotate players more frequently. In other words, forced retirements by selection. Why? Because fans want competition, energy, chemistry. And the Wright-Anderson pairing, once electric, now feels like a nostalgia act. A tribute band playing old hits. Badly. Younger Scottish players like Cameron Menzies and Nathan Gervin are hungry, sharp, full of fight, and many believe they deserved their shot. Even Scottish legend John Henderson tweeted cryptically after the whitewash, "Time for change, we'll see." So what happens now? Peter Wright has hinted at retirement before. His recent form has been inconsistent. He's switched darts almost weekly, chasing confidence he seems to have lost. Gary Anderson, meanwhile, has one foot out the door already. He skipped Premier League seasons, skipped media days, skipped practice. Some fans believe he only showed up for this World Cup because it was a final hurrah. And if that's true, then this whitewash wasn't just a loss. It was a send-off, a brutal, unforgettable end to one of darts' most successful partnerships. Let's not forget, Wright and Anderson won the World Cup in 2019. They put Scotland on top. They inspired a new generation. But heroes don't stay at the top forever, and when legends fall, it's never pretty. Now darts fans are asking, who takes over? Menzies? Girvan? Ross Montgomery? Who steps up and carries Scotland forward? The World Cup showed one thing clearly: the game is changing fast, the level of play is rising, the margins are shrinking, and if you're not 100% locked in, you'll be embarrassed. Just ask Peter Wright and Gary Anderson. 8 legs, 0 wins, a nation in disbelief. Their legacy is secure, but their future, that just got very uncertain. Fans across the UK are already discussing a possible farewell event, a final exhibition night where Wright and Anderson could take the stage one last time in front of their loyal fans. Some say the PDC should host it at the Hydro in Glasgow. Others argue that their exit should happen in silence without the drama. But drama seems to follow these two wherever they go. Insiders are now whispering that Wright might jump ship from Team Scotland entirely and push to represent a new PDC-made Legends wildcard team for upcoming international events. That's never been done before, but nothing's off the table in 2025. Meanwhile, Anderson is rumoured to be eyeing a quiet transition into commentary. One broadcaster reportedly approached him for a role in 2026, saying his no-nonsense views would be a perfect antidote to overly polished pundits. The collapse against the Netherlands was so severe that it's already being studied by coaches as a case in momentum meltdown. Even players from other teams have weighed in. Van Gerwen said after the match, "I respect them both, but they didn't come to win. You could see it in their eyes." That statement hit like a dart to the chest, because in darts, mindset is everything. So what do we take from all this? Legends fade, dynasties crumble, but what matters is how they go out. Wright and Anderson still have their fans, still have their trophies, still have their place in the history books. But as the game evolves, it may be time for Scotland to look ahead, and for two of dart's biggest stars to bow out before things get even uglier. Let us know in the comments. Is this really the end? Or could one more comeback shock us all? Either way, subscribe now, because darts history is being written in real time. And this story, it's far from over.